Chapter 37. That man is called White Wolf. Group 16. 32 contestants stepped into the arena, and the barrier sealed behind them. The moment Alex stepped forward, the atmosphere shifted. A man near the front looked directly at him and gave a low laugh. "So this is him." Another fighter, standing beside him, added with a smirk, "The one carried by Salira Greyfard." A third stepped closer, tightening his grip. "You don't belong here." The words spread across the group. No one argued. No one disagreed. Then one of them raised his voice, addressing everyone in the arena. "Listen carefully." He pointed his weapon toward Alex. "Whoever wins this, it won't be him." The agreement was silent, but absolute. The signal began, and no one attacked each other. Every fighter moved toward Alex at the same time. 3 fighters reached him first. One attacked from the front, another from the side, and a third from behind. Alex blocked the first strike, turned his body to avoid the second, and stepped forward to let the third pass behind him. A fighter shouted to the others not to let him breathe, and more fighters joined immediately. The pressure increased as they surrounded him. From behind the group, one fighter asked his companion why Alex was running. The companion answered that he was scared. Alex heard everything, but he did not respond. He continued moving, creating distance, waiting for the right moment. One fighter broke away from the group, clearly frustrated, and said he would force Alex out. Without waiting, he turned and struck the mirror. A surge of reflected force shot forward. A nearby fighter quietly said that Alex was finished. Alex moved at the last moment and avoided the wave, but he did not look away. He followed its movement carefully. Another fighter saw this and struck the mirror again. Another reflection surged forward. This time Alex did not just dodge. He observed the origin, the direction, and the height. He began to understand. The reflection was not random. It followed the same point, the same height, and the same direction every time. The chaos around him started to fade as the pattern became clear. The fighters pressed in again and shouted to corner him and end the fight. For a brief moment, Alex stopped moving. One fighter saw this and laughed, saying that Alex had finally given up. Before he could finish, Alex moved. His motion was not fast, but precise. His blade met the incoming reflection and then shifted again. Each movement connected smoothly to the next. The reflected force began to split, then weaken, and finally break apart before reaching full strength. Several fighters staggered backward, and one fell to his knees. The man who had laughed froze, unable to understand what had just happened. At that moment, it became clear. Alex had never been running. He had been reading the fight. From that moment, Alex changed the way he moved. He was no longer avoiding blindly. Every step he took had purpose. As he moved, his blade lightly touched the ground, leaving small and precise marks. Most of the fighters ignored it, thinking he was losing control. However, a few began to notice that the movements were not random. High above, Salira watched closely and said quietly that he had figured it out. When asked what he had understood, she replied that Alex was not escaping the fight. He was building it and deciding where it would end. Alex struck the mirror himself, and a reflection surged outward again. This time, he moved along the path he had already prepared. The wave followed its rule, but Alex was no longer in its path. One fighter shouted a warning, but it was too late. The reflection struck another fighter, who fell unconscious. Another attack followed, and Alex adjusted his position again. The next reflection hit exactly where he guided it. One by one, the fighters began to fall. There was no blood and no wasted movement. Some thought he was controlling the fight, but others realized the truth. He was not controlling it. He was using it better than anyone else. The atmosphere in the arena began to change. The stronger contestants who had already finished their battles started paying attention. They were no longer watching casually. They were focused. Even the observer above paused for the first time and looked directly at Alex. Alex continued moving calmly. He showed no rush and no hesitation. The pressure from earlier still existed, but it no longer reached him. That calm control became more dangerous than any display of power. The fight ended slowly as the remaining fighters fell one by one. All of them were alive, but none could continue. Silence returned to the arena as Alex stood alone with a clean blade. The barrier opened and the defeated fighters began to leave. One of them stopped, looked at Alex, and thanked him for not killing him. Alex did not respond. Above the arena, two guards watched the scene and wondered who he was, saying they had never seen anything like that before. Before they could continue, Solyra spoke calmly and said that the man they were looking at was called White Wolf.